Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I will be your host this afternoon, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, I don't even know what that gesture is. It's not like you're clean shaven.
Well, actually, I'm trolling you. You need to fucking... Your beard is so long, you need to comb it.
You like that?
You can cover it up with the scarf you have.
It's not a scarf, it's a buff. My brother Alex, by the way.
And my brother Ed with a scarf.
It's not a scarf, it's a buff.
Yes, it is. It goes to turtle. You took that from a fucking turtleneck.
It's just the neck off a turtleneck.
Right. Yes, that's what it is.
No, man. Look, right? So you got to wear a mask everywhere.
Right.
So I don't know if I mentioned it last week on the show, but I ran a 25K this weekend.
Okay, so that's
right?
what, 12?
15 and a half miles, 16 miles, okay. Right? And I ran it's a trail race down, we ran it on a ranch, on someone's ranch. It's the 7IL ranch.
Is that trespassing?
No, because you had to pay to get in.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it was 3 loops, right? So you always came back to the center area of the ranch where the timing mats were, right? Okay. So you did 1 loop, came back, did another loop, came back, did 3rd loop, and that was it. And so when you were in that, what they call the common area, you had to wear a mask. So with these things, right, it's pretty easy because you just, you just pull it up over your mouth, and then once you leave the area and start running, you pull it back down. So it's great. I love it. And I've been wearing it. This was Saturday. I've been wearing it ever since. I mean, I did wash it.
You go to sleep with it?
No, because I don't have to wear a mask when I sleep, thank goodness. So I just been wearing it everywhere because I find it very convenient. You just pull it up, pull it down. I don't have to worry about whether I have a mask or not.
Right.
Like, I picked my son up from football practice today. We stopped at the store. No problem. Just lifted it up. So I like it, and it's called a gator, not a scarf.
It's a scarf. I like them because they're convenient, like you said. But it's a scarf. I might get me a scarf.
It's a gator. I've got another one if you want it.
No, I want my own scarf.
Okay, whatever. I'm just saying. Tell you what, man. So I'm pacing a buddy of mine who's doing 100-miler, right? Down in 100-miler in Brazos Bend.
Okay.
So it's a 16.6 mile loop, and he does 6 laps. And I'm gonna pace him for one of those laps, right? Okay. So I talked to him. We did the race this weekend, right? Uh-huh. And so we were talking and stuff, and I found out, because I hadn't talked to him much about it before, I found out that I'm pacing him the 5th leg. Okay. Which 100 milers starting early in the morning, the 5th leg is going to be in the middle of the night, right? He's going to do it in about 24 hours. So it's going to be in the middle of the night. So, okay, we're talking. Come to find out, there's a bunch of gators down in Brazos Bend. And I'm not talking about this thing around my neck. I'm talking about alligators. Crocodiles.
Oh, yeah, I would opt out.
At night. Here's my question. Should I be packing heat? Because those fuckers run fast.
I mean, you're faster than a gator.
No. I looked it up. Right? So we're sitting there talking, and I'm starting to get real nervous about this gator population in Brazos Bend. So I pull up an article on my phone, what to do when you come across an alligator in the wild, right? Check this out. Number 1, do not approach the gator.
That's good advice.
And I'm like, hey, fucko, I'm not going to approach a gator. If anything, the gator may approach me. And then, it tells you other things to do. And then one of the suggestions is, if you get bit, seek medical attention.
You might not be alive.
Yeah. No, you mean if I survive? So I'm petrified, but I already told my buddy I'm doing this, so I got to do it, right? Now, the good thing is, he will have already run like 66 miles by the time I pace him. So surely I'll be faster than him.
You should be. You should be nice and fresh.
Right, I should be fresh. He'll be tired.
Right.
But
then you have to slow up to his pace.
Right, but if we come across a gator,
at least you can escape.
I can outrun him.
Right.
And
the gator.
Marty, I love you, my dude, but if you end up being food, you end up being food, right? Like, it's the circle of life.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I think I'm gonna run with With a gun.
I guess you can strap on a holster.
Yeah, I mean, because
you don't want to like have it in your pocket and pull a fucking Plaxico burst. You know what I mean?
Shoot myself in the
yeah. You don't want to do that.
But I mean, like you gotta pack heat, right? I mean,
yeah, you'll fucking look like Don Johnson running from Miami Vice.
Get a nice white jacket.
Yeah.
I thought that article was going to tell me wear a strobe light or some shit. Right. It's going to give him a seizure or something. You know, like, this fucking thing tells me to run away from it. No shit.
Well, I mean, you know.
I told my buddy, if we run into a gator, that's going to be the fastest lap you run. You're going to think freaking Usain Bolt is pacing you because I'm going to jet.
Yeah, I mean, you got to fucking run. I mean, how close have you come to a gator before?
Like without a fence?
Just
like in real life?
Well, yeah. I mean,
no. Like
have you been?
I've seen them at the zoo, right? But they're contained, right?
So,
but I mean, just come across one. I came across one. I saw one in a pond, and it was probably 20 yards away.
Yeah, I've come. Yeah, probably about the same. But I was in an airboat in Florida. And there's just...
They're everywhere?
Yeah, they're pretty much everywhere.
Bro.
Yeah, I know. In a fucking airboat.
I'd have been paddling that motherfucker myself.
If those propellers stopped, I would have been fucking... I would have started blowing into the fan, bro. Help, kids.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, see, like...
Pretty fucking
snakes
crazy.
And gators, man, those scare us. Like if I saw a bear, I don't think I would be as afraid as I would be of a gator, because like a bear, I feel like a bear is big enough and similar in structure to like you and me that if I punched it in the face, it would hurt, right? But a gator's got that hard shell. Yeah. If I punched him in the face, he'd be like, "And what?"
Yeah, right? He'd be like,
"Yeah," he'd be like. Like all of a sudden I'm very much an anti-Florida fan.
Yeah, see, I'm not a fan of... I respect them, but I'm just not a fan of creatures and animals and the wildlife, the zoo.
I like it, yeah, but like I'm not one of those people that wants to like pet a stingray and things like that. Like, I don't want to touch them, just like I don't want them to touch me.
Right.
I don't want to touch them. Right? Like, it's just not... And I'm an animal lover. I love all animals, even gators, provided they stay over there. They come over here trying to kill a brother, I'm going to have to...
Well, good luck to you. I hope you...
I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm petrified.
I mean, especially because it's at night.
Yeah.
And they're not exactly, fucking neon green, right? I mean, they fucking blend in with the night.
I know. They blend in during the day. Imagine at night.
Maybe they have some, like, gator night ray vision glasses you can buy.
You think pepper spray works on a gator? Maybe I could run with pepper spray.
That's a good idea. But then you got to be really close enough. Which close enough may be if you reach out with the pepper spray, there may go your fucking hand and the pepper spray. Then you're fucked.
Yeah, but then...
But you still got your legs.
But then at least he'll have indigestion when he eats the pepper spray.
True, and then you still have your legs, which will allow you to... run.
Yeah, see, actually, now that I think about it, carrying a gun or pepper spray would be pointless because if I see one, I'm gonna run. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, don't approach me because I will fuck you up." I'm gonna be like, "Peace out, deuces."
Yeah. Well, just run, man.
Oh, I can't wait to tell that story. And
when is it? Next week?
No, it's in December.
Oh, okay. You got time.
Time for what? Time to practice my gator roll?
To train a little harder and so that you are faster.
Oh, I'll be faster than my buddy and I are pretty close in terms of speed. But like I said, he will have just... Like, when I start running with him, he will have run 66 miles. Surely I'm faster than a man who's run 60... He's at 66 miles. I'm at 0. Surely I'm faster than him.
Is he running 100 miles without stopping? Like, there's no stopping point?
I mean, he can stop, but I mean, he's got 24 hours. I think they put a 24-hour time limit. So yeah, you can stop, you can take a nap, you can do whatever the fuck you want, but you got to run 100 miles in 24 hours. Otherwise, you don't get the buckle or whatever the medal is, right?
Well, maybe before approaching those 66 miles, the 66th mile, kind of pace yourself so that you conserve some energy. Not you, your buddy.
Right. Well, now that if he watches this podcast,
or fucking eat like a fucking power bar, you know, so that he's got some
mega power.
Yeah,
bar?
take some C4 or some shit. Although that may give you the shits, but at least you'll have some.
Oh my God! Wait, on a 16-mile run, it's possible, especially if he's been going all day, that he's gonna want to stop to take a shit or take a leak.
Oh shit! That's some. You may be in some shit.
Well, no, he's gonna be in some
figuratively and literally.
Oh my God, this is getting more stressful by the minute.
Yeah, you definitely got to pack a knife, a fucking machete, bro.
Dude, a knife
like Tomb Raider, you know, the chick put in the back and shit. And
yo, but listen, with a knife, I mean, he's got to get close for the knife to be effective. Whereas pepper spray, you know, you can get one of those long shooting ones, a gun you can shoot from a distance,
a slingshot. Dad has a slingshot. That'd be pretty cool.
Slingshot.
A bow and arrow.
Man, I ain't never shot a bow and arrow in my life. What am I gonna do all of a sudden? Shoot one at a gator in the middle of the night and expect to hit it?
Yeah, I bet you'll learn pretty fucking quick if your life's on the line. If there's any possibility of fucking death, you will learn how to fucking rub two sticks and make fire. Okay.
Hey, what's the worst injury that can happen on a trail race 100-miler? Death. Oh my goodness. Well, hey.
Well,
we'll worry about that when the time comes. But for now, let's get to the big topic, right? And we're going to talk about sports. LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers won the franchise's 17th NBA title last night with a victory, a very easy victory over the Miami Heat to win the series 4-2. I believe we both picked the Lakers to win the series.
I did not.
We didn't?
I picked the fucking Heat in 5.
Oh, that's right. Did I? I think
you picked the Heat.
In 6.
In 6.
Well, I got the games right.
You got the games
I'm
right.
better than you in that regard.
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't make you any smarter.
It makes me more right. It makes you more wrong. It makes me less wrong. It makes you less right. However you want to do it.
You were still wrong.
This is true. So LeBron wins his 4th NBA championship?
4th.
With his 3rd franchise.
Yes.
And I mean, really, the big topic of conversation today, as is every time LeBron has won, is he the GOAT? Right? Yeah. Is he the greatest of all time? And then the discussion comes with him and Jordan. And I think he even kind of alluded to it a little bit when he made the respect comments last night. He wants respect for, which I kind of don't understand, right? Because he said he wanted respect for the Lakers. The Lakers are one of the most respected franchises in the NBA.
Right.
They're up there with the Celtics and whatnot. He wanted some respect for GM Rob Pelinka. Pelinka is highly regarded in the NBA in terms of his GM abilities. He wanted some respect for Laker Nation. I don't know of a fan base that gets more pub than Laker fans, partially because of the celebrity, so I don't know what he's talking about there. And then he wanted some damn respect for himself. And that was the only one I understood. What did you think about that?
I didn't fucking understand. I don't know what kind of respect he wants. I think he's respected. I mean, he's in the conversation. That alone right there garners that you're respected.
Right.
I mean, you're in the fucking conversation,
yes.
right? I mean,
I agree.
So I don't know what he meant by that. I'm sick and tired of the whole fucking Michael Jordan versus LeBron debate. I don't think there's any debate. They're both great. I lean towards, one side more than the other, but I mean,
Which
that
side?
doesn't Jordan. But that doesn't take away from what I think about LeBron as a basketball player.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He's one of the greatest. I mean, but there are some differences, right?
Right.
And even if I take away the 6-0 record of Jordan and the 4-6 record of LeBron in the finals, I still see differences, that make me lean towards Jordan. So the record has nothing to do with it in my eyes, right? If I didn't want to use that argument, because I think that's an easy argument to, right? That's something easy to lean on, right? 6-0 obviously is greater than 4-6, but the guy has made fucking 8 finals in a row, 9 in a row, 10 overall. I mean, that's So I'm personally sick and tired of especially because it's just 2 different eras. The game was played differently. It's just different. You know what I mean?
But it's funny that we don't have that same conversation, or we didn't have that same conversation with Jordan and Magic and Bird.
Probably.
Now they were a little bit closer.
Yeah.
In terms of time, but
I think it's almost like Magic and Bird were kind of passing off the baton to Jordan. Mm-hmm. Like they were kind of on the tail end.
Didn't Jordan kind of pass it on to Kobe, and then Kobe kind of passed it on to LeBron?
Yeah.
So it's kind of here's the thing. I think part of what makes this conversation distasteful is that people assume that when you say Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, that you are automatically saying that LeBron sucks or that LeBron is way inferior.
Look, and not only LeBron, right? You're talking about
everybody.
Wilt, Kareem, Shaq,
but no one gets pissed about those guys, right? And look, in the Olympics, when they run the 100-meter dash, right? Usain Bolt wins the gold medal, right? But he doesn't win it by 5 seconds. He wins it by a smidge, right? He wins it by a tenth of a second or less than a tenth of a second. And I feel like this greatest of all time conversation is the same thing. I feel like Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, but he wins it by a little bit. It's not like we're not comparing him to Carlos Boozer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sorry, Carlos Boozer. I'm sure you're a fine basketball player and a great guy. But
great hairline though, Carlos.
Fabulous hairline. And I don't know how I pulled that name out of my ass compared to right? Like I should have said Bernard King or something like that. I don't know. Anyway. Right. But look, I think LeBron is great. In fact, I can even think of some reasons why LeBron is greater than Jordan, right? The fact that he's done it with different franchises. The fact that he's done it having to defer to 1 or 2 teammates, right? Not so much in Cleveland, but certainly in Miami where he had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Here in LA with Anthony Davis. There's a different dynamic there that Jordan didn't have to deal with. Jordan was very clearly and obviously the number 1 all the time, right? So I can see instances of, well, I think LeBron is greater in this way. But I think it's silly that people get so bent out of shape about the debate. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying one or the other is the greatest. It's a debate.
Yeah, but I think it's 2020, and we're living in a very sensitive society.
Oh, we like debate.
A little soft society.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And those softies are, LeBron stans. I'm serious. I mean, they can't be more wrong. They're never wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I mean, I think those are just facts, man. And the other thing is, I think, and I still give LeBron a little heat for this, and I think a lot of people do. Jordan won 3 in a row. He then quit basketball to go play baseball for whatever reason. But he quit basketball.
Right.
And then he came back. And he didn't go to the fucking Rockets. He went back to the fucking Bulls.
Yeah.
LeBron, and won 3 more. LeBron, and don't get me wrong, what he's done for the city of Cleveland, outside of the basketball court and on the basketball court, he fucking carried that franchise
for a long time.
Yes. After they were the fucking, after Jordan hit the shot on Elo, I mean, the fucking Cavs disappeared, right?
Right.
So what he did for that franchise, is great, but he quit on the Cavs, and then he went to the Heat, and then he teamed up, and then he was gonna win 6, 7, 8, 9, ended up winning 2 out of 4. Then he goes back to the Cavs after they have 3 straight seasons of first round picks. Of course, only one of them, Kyrie Irving, was on that team, right?
Right.
But it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. I don't know the right analogy, but you know, you fucking went over here to the pretty girl that had the fucking Mercedes and the mansion, right? And you know, you got your meals every night, and you got your little, you know, your cookie, you know, every night and shit like that, and then you went back with.
Once your ex-girlfriend lost some weight,
yeah, exactly.
You went back to
because you were looking at her Instagram pictures and you're like, oh man, look at this, man, fucking.
She's getting far.
Yeah, 4 years later, holy shit, you know, and then, you know, her dumb ass took you back and you went back and you know whatever, and then you're coming home, you know, it's kind of like
again.
You know, so that whole scenario, I know it's old, but I think
it's part of the narrative, right?
It is, and I think it bothers some people, and it doesn't bother me, but I mean, I you know, I look at it and I'm like, did you really have to fucking go over there and then go back to Cleveland? And I don't know.
Here's the thing about that, and it's a very good point. I think that while he doesn't think that's a big deal, I think most people that analyze basketball and most people that get into this conversation, they do place a certain value on that he doesn't understand. Right, and I think that's what he's talking about when he says he wants him. And this is the other thing. I think sometimes LeBron, I think he's obviously he's an exceptional basketball player, one of the greatest ever. I think he's a good dude. Like, he's a genuinely good dude. But when he talks, I think he just doesn't. He doesn't get it, and maybe it's because he's as famous as he is, right? But he wants. When he said that last night, I felt like he was saying, I deserve to be in the conversation of the greatest ever, and it hurts my feelings when you just dismiss me as no way in hell I'm the greatest ever.
Right.
And what he doesn't understand is the mere fact that we have the conversation about him possibly being the greatest ever is the respect that he's clamoring for, right?
Yeah.
It's like, look, dude, we do respect you. That's why you're in this conversation. Now, some people don't think you're the greatest, but that's okay. It's very rare. Look, even in football, when we talk about the greatest quarterback ever, people still argue that it's not Tom Brady, even though he's won the most Super Bowls, right?
Right.
Hockey is probably the only sport that does not have a conversation about the greatest. Wayne Gretzky's the greatest, and that's that.
Yeah.
Right? Soccer has Pele and Maradona. Football has a whole slew of guys. Joe Montana, Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers is even in that conversation.
Baseball?
Baseball.
Baseball
doesn't really have a conversation because there's so many, and and the history is so long, right? So just by the mere fact that you're in the conversation, every sport's going to have the conversation. There's very few sports where you're going to outpace the second guy by 40%, right? Yeah. Like Gretzky's got, I don't know, 1,000 career goals, and the next guy's got like 600. You know, it's just okay. There's just no argument there, right? And very few sports are you going to be able to do that. Very few sports. No quarterback in football is going to throw for 150,000 career yards, and second place is going to be at 100,000, right? Yeah. No basketball player is going to score 45,000 points, and second place is going to be at 30,000, right? It just doesn't. It's not. That's just not the way it works. And so, you're in the conversation, dude. That's good enough. That is your damn respect, as you say.
All I gotta say is Michael Jordan fucked it up for everybody. I mean, he literally, the guy set the bar so high, just from winning to how he approached games to whatever he had to do to psych himself out to fucking take shit personal, whatever. He really fucked it up for people after him because I mean, he just did. I mean,
part of what he did that fucked it up. It's not just the fact that he won, because he's not the greatest winner ever. Bill Russell won 11 titles,
exactly, right?
But what he did was, he was obviously A+ competitive player, championship winner. But then on top of that, he changed the game in the sense that it was played more above the rim than before. Mm-hmm. And from a marketing perspective, he changed the game as well. So he changed. So he's an A+ winner. He changed the game on the court, and he changed the game off the court.
Yeah.
That's hard to do. That's just, and for LeBron to come not very long after that, maybe if LeBron came around 20 years later, maybe he could have changed the game, right? Maybe he could have changed the way the game was played. I don't know how, but let's just say, right? Maybe he could have changed the game off the court as well. But so short after Jordan, he's not able to do that. And so the comparison is always going to be somewhat lacking there. And Jordan is probably going to win that argument all the time.
Right.
Let me ask you this, though. Does LeBron James win the argument if he wins, let's say, 3 more titles? If he ends up 7-6 in the finals with 7 NBA rings, 4 with one of the most storied franchises there are, the LA Lakers, does he win the argument then?
I think he almost has to. I think he
more championships, right?
I mean, more championships. And think about it. LeBron, while he doesn't have to, LeBron fucking puts up triple doubles, like
on the regular.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So he does a lot more than just scoring.
Mm-hmm.
He affects the game, and even now, always really since he came into the league, he just affects the game. Like defenses have to adjust to how he plays, because he does it all. He plays all fucking 5 positions, 4 positions at least. Yeah.
He's great. And I wish. Whereas Michael Jordan needed the chip on his shoulder, was part of who he was, where he would find those slights in order to keep himself moving in the right direction. I don't think LeBron needs that. I feel like for him it's more of a burden, and I wish he didn't have it, because I kind of feel bad for the guy.
Well,
but
I think. Well, look,
he's an NBA champion. Are they gonna have a parade?
He is. I don't know, but I want to give credit to the rest of the Lakers, because I think Anthony Davis.
Who?
Anthony Davis.
Who's that?
Probably the.
Did he win the Finals MVP?
Top 3, player of the NBA.
No, LeBron did
the
that. The
best center in the NBA.
He's not the best center in the NBA. LeBron is.
He doesn't.
Give him his damn respect.
Fuck that.
Give him his damn respect.
I just did.
LeBron basically won that championship by himself. Look, I'm not gonna slight the guy anymore. I'm gonna give him his damn respect.
You're gonna give him his respect?
I'm gonna give him his damn respect.
Well.
Look, he was the best point guard in that series. He was the best guard. He was the best center. He was the best coach. I think he even helped the guys stretch before the game. He was the best at everything.
Well, he was certainly the best GM.
He was the best GM.
Because that team is totally different than what... I think Kuzma's the only guy...
that survived.
And Caruso, maybe.
Maybe.
That survived from last season. Everybody's not there. So, see, that's another thing. Fuck LeBron. I'm not giving him no damn respect.
I knew I could get you.
LeBron
train.
That's another thing. The guy, kind of handpicks,
he's been doing it since he went to Miami, right?
Obviously.
So.
But props to the rest of the Lakers, because I think Rondo had a fucking great series.
Playoff Rondo.
And Anthony Davis played, by game 4, I was like, Anthony Davis might win MVP. But then, games 5 and 6, especially 6, LeBron. There was no way, maybe co-MVP, but there was no way LeBron wasn't getting it. But through 4 games, I thought Anthony Davis
I agree. When you look at the series as a whole, LeBron was the MVP.
Yeah.
But through game 4, when it was 3-1 Lakers, oh hell yeah, that was Anthony Davis's.
If anything,
MVP.
It was really close, so close that you might have to go co-MVP.
No,
like I said,
I thought it was pretty much Anthony Davis at that point.
Yeah.
But then Anthony Davis did nothing in game 5. I think he got hurt. Did he?
He got hurt. He elbowed Crowder.
Yeah.
But Dwight Howard, he played good all fucking season for the Lakers. Like he was really an important piece.
He won an NBA championship in Orlando years after we said he wouldn't do it.
In Orlando? No shit.
Finally won
in Orlando.
Won an NBA championship in Orlando. You know the Magic got to be pissed.
Yeah, well. But, I mean, yeah, no, the Lakers, fucking Caruso had a good season.
Kuzma?
Yeah, he had a good season. I mean, the Lakers played well, man. I mean, they really did.
No, they're good.
They're
good.
Obviously they have two of the top two players in the NBA.
Well, Giannis might have something to say about that.
But I mean,
Steph Curry.
And props to the Heat, because the Heat fucking hung in there.
Durant.
I mean, the Heat hung in there. They had a fucking great season, and I think they were outmatched the whole series, because they were just outmatched. Besides, on top of having the injuries,
I think really hurt them.
But I mean, they were just outmatched. So
yeah, I mean,
it was a good effort, but they were fucking tired. I mean, I don't know how they pulled off Game 5, because they were really on empty.
Yeah, so, but look, if Dragic is healthy and Bam is healthy, I think that's.
And the Lakers win in 7.
Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I don't want to take any shine away from the Lakers, but let's face it, that Heat team was pretty compromised. Those are two pretty big important pieces, and it's unfortunate that we didn't get to see them healthy throughout.
Yep.
To see what it really would have shook out as, but that's the way it goes, man. Look, every year in sports, a team wins the championship, and I've always said this. Every year, the team that wins the championship runs into some good luck, be it during the season or in the playoffs or in the finals or whatever. It's so hard to do. You need your fair share, and a little bit of luck never hurts either. So, anyway, now we've got baseball coming down the stretch, right? We're down to the ALCS and the NLCS. The Astros took care of the A's. The Rays took care of the Yankees in a fabulous series that went 5 games. A nail-biter down to the very end. A home run in the bottom of the 8th of Game 5 for the Rays to win that series. And now we've got that ALCS matchup. The Rays, another team that, not real happy with the Astros. I think it would have been more interesting with the Yankees, because the Yankees obviously were one of the teams that bitched to MLB about the Astros. And they haven't had a chance to see them all year since they got punished. But instead we get the Rays and the Astros. Game 1 last night, another close game, and the Rays pulled it out 2-1. Again, just razor close. There were so many situations in that game where it could have turned. What do you think about this series?
Well, I think from here on out, Kevin Cash said, we're going to pitch Snell until his arm falls off in Game 1, and then until it's his next turn, it's just going to be fucking bullpen. And the Rays have
arms for days.
The Rays have a lot of fucking arms, and those bats seem to be getting timely hits, man.
Yeah.
So I would expect to see some more low-scoring games here. And the Astros were hot, man. I mean, their bats really woke up during the A series.
Well, they got a cold shower last night because Blake Snell, it's funny, that game was 1-1 in the 5th, and it felt like the Astros were winning 6-1.
Because he threw like 110 pitches.
He was struggling every inning, but somehow he was managing to get out of the inning. And then on the other side, Valdez was just cruising.
Yeah, he pitched well.
He seemed like he was just cruising, no problem. But then you look up and it's 1-1, and then they end up giving up a run in the 5th or the 6th or whatever, and they end up losing the game. I think this series is pretty easy. If the Astros hit, the Rays are in trouble because their bats can't keep up with the Astros.
You don't think they can?
No. And if the Rays pitch well, then the Astros are screwed because the Astros can't keep up pitching-wise. It's going to be an interesting series because at some point, right, I think every game something's going to give, and it's just a matter of who can make it happen 4 times. I don't think the Astros are going to win too many games 2-1, And I don't think the Rays are going to win too many games 9-8. Right? So it's whoever gets their thing going. Whoever does their thing. And last night it looked like the Astros were going to do their thing. You know, Altuve hit a home run in the first inning. Blake Snell was struggling throughout, but somehow he made it through, and it ended up being a 2-1 game. And if it's a 2-1 game, I'm telling you, the Rays are going to win it.
Yeah, that game one, when you work the starting pitcher, any starting pitcher, the way the Astros did to Snell, that's kind of a, 100 pitches, 5 innings. You'd think you would score more runs, right? It's kind of a game they might look back on and say, man, we didn't come through when we needed to. I think the Astros are in trouble. I think they're in trouble. I mean, I said before the series the Rays will win 4-2.
I don't trust the Astros pitching. I guess I trust the Rays pitching to hold down the Astros more than I trust the Astros pitching to keep them in games.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the problem at the end of the day.
Could be, but I think I don't underestimate the Rays bats. I think if they bust through, if they have one game where they, and I'm not talking like the last game that if they clinch, right? I'm talking like game 2 or game 3. If they bust out, that's gonna be a tough team, man, going forward.
Yeah, well, at this point, I think they're all very, very capable, and it should be a good series. On the other side, you've got the Dodgers and the Braves, both of which swept through their series. The Braves against the Marlins, and the Dodgers against the Padres. Look, this is 1 versus 2. This is pretty much the matchup I expected that we would get in the National League. And both teams are stacked, it seems like. The Braves haven't lost the game so far in the playoffs, and neither have the Dodgers. Something's got to give, obviously, in this series. I think, the Dodgers have obviously been the sexy pick all year, best record in baseball, and a loaded team that's been, tested in the playoffs before. Everyone knows all there is to know about them, right? They've been in the World Series 2 of the last 3 years or 3 of the last 4, whatever it is. Everyone, they're the sexy pick. But don't sleep on this Braves team. They absolutely shut down Cincinnati in the wild card series. They shut down the Marlins.
They've had the best pitching staff out of all 16 teams that made the playoffs.
And
they've had the best pitching staff.
While the Dodgers lineup is no punk, the Braves are coming in with a lot of confidence on the mound. What do you think about this series?
I have a feeling we're going to be let down. Because, I think the same thing as you. Like, this should be a good series, right? But I have a feeling we're going to be let down. And I don't know which way. The better series is going to be the Rays and the Astros. I don't know. I kind of say the Braves are going to win. But I don't know. I think the Dodgers are kind of... Aside from fucking having Mookie Betts. I mean, you add Mookie Betts to that lineup. That lineup made the fucking World Series 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
You add Mookie Betts, and then you have, that pitching staff is pretty good. I think the Dodgers are going to spoil it.
I trust the 1-2 punch of the Dodgers more than I do of the Braves, right? Walker Buehler and Clayton Kershaw looks vintage. I mean, he looks like the Clayton Kershaw that really dominated MLB pitching for a while. I trust that combination more than I trust what the Braves have. Both teams have been able to set themselves up in terms of rotation for the playoffs. They don't have to worry about being tired like the Rays did with going 5 with the Yankees. But again, I just trust the pitching of the Dodgers a little bit more than I trust the pitching of the Braves at this point. And partially because of the lineups that they're going to face, right?
Yeah.
Now, the one wild card here is, I think, this could be the type of series where one guy just blows up and just blows everything to bits, right? Kind of like Anthony Rendon did last year. Like, all of a sudden, he was coming up in every big spot and he was getting clutch hits. And I feel like Acuna could be that guy. He is so disruptive. If he gets up in situations where there's men on and late in the game and things like that, he could really end up just blowing this whole thing to bits and winning the series for the Braves. That's the only thing that I think may stop the Dodgers is if they run into a buzzsaw. Where, baseball is one of those games where you don't really have much control over when things happen, right? Like, Acuna really doesn't have any control about getting at bats with 2 outs and 2 men on, right? It either happens or it doesn't. It's not like basketball where in the last minute of the game you can put the ball in the hands of certain players, right? Here it's just a little bit different. You don't have any control over it, which is why baseball sometimes you get like a real oddball MVP. But I feel like if there's one guy that could really blow things up, it's Acuna.
Yeah, to me, he's hit or miss because I think he's like in the top for the season striking out. That Braves lineup, as good as it is, it also strikes out a lot. So, which means you don't put the ball in play, you don't move runners over. I don't know. That's why I kind of say the Dodgers may. Plus, it might be fucking Los Angeles' year. Lakers just won. I think the Dodgers are gonna fucking make easy work of the Braves.
Wouldn't that be something? The Dodgers win in Arlington, the Lakers win in Orlando.
Yeah.
Then they have 2 parades just to spread Corona around in their city.
Yeah. No
Surely
shit.
they're not gonna have a parade. California's still not even open.
I don't know, and I don't care. As long as they stay over there, don't come over here, and I don't go over there, and I stay over here. So
the one cool thing about both of these series, right, the way they're doing it is 7 straight days.
Yeah.
So if a series goes 7 games, you're gonna play 7 games in 7 days.
That's right.
For a shot at the World Series, that's gonna be fun to watch, that to me plays into the hands of a team like the Rays,
right?
Who's got a bullpen for days,
right?
And that also plays a little bit, I think, into the Dodgers because you can get long outings from Walker Buehler and Clayton Kershaw, so that you don't tax your bullpen. Then they can come back for Game 5 and 6 if you need them.
And they still have Dustin May.
Right, who's no slouch either.
Yeah.
So they've got, if you have starters that can go deep into the game,
right,
this type of series is to your benefit. And if you've got a bullpen with, I don't know, how many arms do the Rays have? 38, 39 different arms? I mean,
some shit like that.
Yeah, some crazy number.
Which
then
is
that kind of plays into your strength as well.
Yeah, which is the reason why the Astros have quite a bit of I think they understand that, and that's why they brought in I think they're carrying 16 pitchers.
Yeah.
They're carrying a lot of pitchers. So they understand this whole, playing 7 days straight.
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, all of the teams are only carrying 2 catchers, right? And so usually that's the debate, right? Mm-hmm. Do you carry 2 or 3 catchers? And then depending on what you do there, the flip side is a reliever.
Right.
Right? And I think all 4 teams have gone with 2 catchers.
Oh, have they? Oh,
yeah.
I don't know.
So to get the extra arms in.
So who you got in the Braves?
I think it's going to be the Rays. I think it's going to be the Rays and the Dodgers.
Rays and Dodgers.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I like it, man. I love it. I hope they both go 7. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I pretty much always root for 7 games when it's not my team.
Right.
When it's my team, I root for a sweep.
That's right.
I want to win every single game. Twice. Yeah. Boom. Clinch the series in 2 games.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Well, I don't know. You want to go into football, or
I gotta get going. I got a meeting in a bit, but
let's wrap it up.
But let's talk about one thing in football. Actually, 2 things. One, hats off to the NBA. The bubble worked. It was beautiful. I loved it. No disruptions, no cases, nothing. hats off to the MLB the way that they've decided to do the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't have schedule disruptions in the playoffs, right? That's when it all goes out the window if you get and I'm saying all of this to say to the NFL, I hope you're watching. I strongly suggest you take your playoff teams and put them in a bubble. I understand you want to have fans. I understand you want to do what you want to do, whatever. I think you cannot risk. I think it would be unfair to risk getting cases and risking the schedule of the playoffs by not having a bubble. And you do have a little more wiggle room in football because you only play once a week, right? So you can push a day. But you can't push 2 or 3 days because then you create a situation of short rest for one team as opposed to another. So I don't know if they're doing the bubble or not, but I strongly suggest they do a bubble for the playoffs.
I think we'll get one, and I want to search something up real quick, but I think they'll do one. So the World Series would end on October 28th. That would mean that the NFL would be, 8 weeks in?
Something like that.
I think the NFL should do this. I think by week 12, week 13, you're going to have a bunch of teams eliminated. Let those teams that are eliminated, well, shit, they may have to play some playoff teams.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand them not.
They have to do a bubble.
At this point, they've committed to not doing the bubble during the regular season. So I kind of like baseball. I don't think you can really change it at this point, right? Because then you create a competitive advantage or disadvantage for certain teams, right? If you put them all in a bubble, then you're gonna have teams that are gonna have more home games and road games. Like they would finish the season with, say, let's just say for argument's sake, 6 home games, 4 road games, and then 6 neutral site games, and that wouldn't be fair, right?
If by week 15, week 14, whatever, you already have the fucking playoff teams decided, I say you cut the fucking season short. Right now you start planning where you're gonna bubble this, and just move everybody to a bubble, and that's it. Shorten the season.
Yeah,
there's no sense.
I kind of agree with you, but the problem with that is revenue. Right? If you cut the season short, if you cut it, like let's say for some reason, which it won't happen, but let's say all of the playoff teams are decided after they've played 14 games, and you say, okay, we'll cut it off right here, and you're gonna miss out on revenue for weeks 15 and 16, or what would be 16 and 17. What I think they should have done this year they should have done 2 bye weeks. Right, so that you could deal with cases like the Titans and the Jets and.
Well, I'll tell you what. If there's more cases and more teams that get it, they may have to just reset. Right, take a break and come back.
Shut the season down for 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Especially when you're the only game in town.
Yeah,
I agree. That'd be interesting. But for the playoffs, I think they absolutely have to do a bubble.
Yeah, the problem is going to be now
12 teams.
Well, 14 teams now because it's 7, right?
All right.
So now, the other 2 one gets a bye, right? So yeah, 12 teams. That's a lot of fucking people.
Well, you do it like baseball did. You do 2 bubbles.
Right, but that's a lot. I mean, how many teams are you going to have at one? I mean, that's
6
a lot.
and 6.
Yeah, but that's a lot of players, bro. That's a lot of people. A lot of heads, staff, all that shit.
Let's see.
I mean, we're not talking about a 26-man roster. We're talking about double that.
50-man roster, yeah.
That may be.
Then do 4 bubbles. Baseball did it.
Yeah, you
right?
can do 4 bubbles.
Baseball did Houston and Arlington, San Diego and LA.
Yeah, no, you could.
So I think you do that. But yeah, I think you have to do the bubble. Because you can't have a schedule disruption in the playoffs. That will screw it up for everybody.
And I think they understand that.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. The other thing, man, my heart goes out to Dak Prescott. That was a gruesome injury, and for a mobile quarterback, really for any football player, to destroy your ankle like that, man, that's just that could be career-ending. And, I mean, I hate to even utter the words career-ending, but I feel terrible for him. And, you know, I realize he gets a little bit of extra popularity and hate because he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. But from everything I've heard, he is one of the true good guys in the NFL. Does a lot in his community, does a lot back home, not just in the Dallas community. But, you know, it's a darn shame. You hate to see someone's season end that way. You hate to see an injury of that sort on anyone. But, I mean, I felt especially bad for Dak just because...
He was fucking having a career year, too, man.
He was doing well, yeah.
I mean, he's thrown for 1,800 yards this season. I think Russell Wilson is second. He may not even pass him in yards next week. After next week. I mean, that's the kind of season that Dak Prescott was having. This is another guy that fucking came out and talked about depression, you know? So, he's definitely he's a leader in my eyes, you know, to come out and talk about it. I think it takes a lot of courage. So, yeah, sucks for him, but part of football, man.
Yeah, that's just the way. That's the way it goes in football sometimes, and it's really unfortunate. That division looks worse by the minute. I mean,
Cowboys are gonna run away with it.
At what, 5-11?
Yeah, but they'll run away with it. The Cowboys are not losing that division.
The Cowboys could be the first team to win the division by 3 games with only 6 wins.
Yeah, possibly
6-10, and everyone else is 3 and. The Eagles will be the closest. Right? They'll be 3-12-1, ahead of the Redskins at 3-13 and the Giants at 2-14. Is that even possible, considering they play each other?
I don't know, but everybody in that division has a negative point differential,
and everyone in that division has a very real shot of winning the division.
I know.
The Giants have not even sniffed a win yet. Well, they kind of sniffed it yesterday. The Giants have not won a game yet this year. And the Giants are only 2 games out.
That's it.
Ain't
this possible, man?
It's amazing to me that one division can be that bad.
I know. For how much we've talked about that division is the best division.
Well, the games are always so good, right? Because even when they're really good teams, the shitty teams always play them tough. Like, there's such a rivalry between those 4 teams. Yeah. If you ask most Dallas fans who their biggest rival is, I bet you it's an even split between the 3, between the Eagles, Giants, and Redskins. If you ask Redskins fans who their biggest rival is, probably a little more Dallas than the Eagles and the Giants, but I promise you there's a lot of people in Washington that hate the Eagles and the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
And the same thing for the Eagles and the Giants.
Right.
The Eagles and Giants and Redskins, they'll all say Dallas because Dallas is the more popular team of the 4.
Right.
But there'll still be a lot of fans that have a lot of hatred for the other 2. And, you know, like, it's not uncommon to hear fans in that division say, when they see their rivals playing, I hope it ends up in a tie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean... They don't want to see either team win.
Right.
And so the rivalry is, I think it's the most intense rivalry in terms of divisions. And it doesn't matter if they're good or bad. That rivalry seems to take over and make every game close. And
yeah.
But, you know, now with Dak out, that Dallas offense takes a considerable turn for the worse. Because Andy Dalton he's not Dak Prescott.
He's not, no, of course not. But, I mean, he came in yesterday and he played all right, you know?
He fumbled like the first snap.
It wasn't his fault.
He fumbled it and kicked it 5 yards away right into the hands of a Giants player.
That's a smart move. He was trying to, he was trying to do something.
He was trying to do something.
I honestly think they'll be all right.
I worry. I worry, and because obviously Andy Dalton's not Dak Prescott, right? But also... McCarthy is
cross-eyed.
You know, like I was happy that they hired McCarthy. I thought it was a good hire for them. But McCarthy's proven to be a bit of an idiot.
Well, yeah, he's made some really questionable calls. You know, we'll leave off on this. We should be celebrating the Atlanta Falcons.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to ask you, like, whose head are you going to call for next? Because the one you've been calling for the last 2 years is gone.
I popped champagne when I heard that. I'm not even a fucking Falcons fan.
That's terrible. Look, 0-5, pissing away double-digit leads in the fourth quarter.
Super Bowls.
I'm kind of surprised he lasted this.
I died too. Who you telling? Surprised.
You thought he should have been fired after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the season after at the earliest.
When, if you were the GM or the owner, when would you have fired him? Would you have fired him right after the Super Bowl?
No. That's what I'm saying.
The
following season. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I get it.
So but whatever.
You got anything else, man?
That's it, brother. Let's wrap this puppy up.
Alrighty, folks. As always, if you want to watch the Positive Sports Podcast, you can do so on YouTube. If you want to listen to it, you can listen to it on Podbean, Google Play, iTunes, whatever your podcast listening platform of choice is. If they want to get a hold of you, how do they do that, Alex?
On Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho 1. You probably want to watch. You want to look at Ed's beautiful blue scarf.
It's not a scarf. It's a gator. It's a buff.
Trust me, when they watch and they comment down below after they've subscribed and liked the video, they're going to say it's a fucking scarf.
No, they're not. If you want to get a hold of me and tell me how cool my buff is, you can do so on Twitter as well, eMontana21. And if you want to email the show, you can email the show at positivesports10@gmail.com. positivesports10@gmail.com. We've come to the end of another wonderful episode. Alex, thank you so much for your time. I always appreciate it. I always enjoy doing this with you. I know I don't say that to you enough, but man, this is the highlight of my week. This hour that we spend in front of this camera is, to me, one of the most fun parts of my week. I love it, my man.
Damn, Skippy, we should do it. We should pod every day.
I don't know, but I don't think they can take it. As always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.